So originally I was going to do a video about making these pens. The last week or two I've been making these simple pens. But this morning I was out shopping and saw a real nice natural edge, like a big kind of oval shaped bowl. And I'll tell you, it was selling for a ridiculous amount of money, and I thought, you know what, I can totally do that at home. I got this big lathe just so that I could make stuff like that, and I haven't even got around to trying it yet. So I had this big piece of, I believe this is black walnut. This has been sitting around here. I already did a little bit of prep work. I got this neat circle finder the other day, so I can find it's about 13 inches and the middle's right there, and I marked it and punched a hole out with a center punch. Oh, this center punch, not the pen, center punch. With a hammer. Now I'm going to drill a 3/8 inch hole for the worm screw for my screw chuck, and then we'll mount it up on the screw chuck and turn it. That should be good. Yep. before anybody asks, I'm wearing the glove because I got a cut on my hand. Normally, I would suggest not wearing gloves at the lathe. It's not especially safe, but it's better than, sometimes it's better than bleeding all over the tools, I guess. Alright, so it fought me a little bit. You can see the surface on it is not excellent yet. I'm going to hollow it out first, I think, and come back and try to clean up the surface. It's still got a little bit of a wobble to it, and there's so much, the shape is so uneven, it's hard to get clean cuts on it right now. If I can't get it cleaned up with the tools, I'll come back later and get it cleaned up with the sandpaper, so we'll work it out. So I'm going to put a foot on it and turn it around in the chuck and hollow it out. All right. That should be all right. All right. Hey. All right. That's going to require the tailstock. That's what's happening there. So I ran out of batteries while I was working on this and was not able to catch the last bit of the, I guess, the hollowing out and shaping as well as the finishing. But as you'll see, the finish on it is still pretty rough. We'll call it rustic. And that is due to a chain of mistakes made that I would like to talk a bit about, I guess, as they were made early on and had repercussions throughout the project. Early on, when I was turning the foot, the tenon, to put it in the chuck, I did not put enough of a dovetail on the tenon. I don't know how I managed to overlook that, but I did, and as a result of that, it didn't sit evenly. The chuck could not get a good grip on it, so as soon as there was a little bit of vibration, it would jump out of the chuck, which on an unevenly balanced piece like this, and especially when you're cutting a lot of air as the empty parts come around, it takes not but a second to knock it out of the chuck, which, as you'll see earlier in the video, is exactly what happened. Almost immediately after putting it in the chuck, I knocked it out. A lot of times you can set it back up and correct an issue like that, add the dovetail to the tenon, but because of the way it was mounted on the worm screw and it was an uneven surface to begin with, a lot of times if you take a thing off the worm screw, you're not going to get it back on. It'll never be straight again, so I did not even try to do that, and I brought up the tailstock to do most of the hollowing, which is not ideal. And then when it came time to sand it, I had to do it very gently. You couldn't really do it on the lathe for fear of it jumping out of the tailstock. So I'm going eventually to power sand this. I ran out of the supplies that I need to do it, so I'm going to order some and come back to this and sand it again later in the week. I should mention the other thing that went wrong very early on was that I set the circle finder against the top, but the log was kind of lopsided on the bottom. And so by the time I got it up onto the chuck, it was like an inch longer in one direction than the other. So there was a lot of wobble once I started turning it. I probably could have cleaned that up on the bandsaw, but for whatever reason, I just left it the way it was. Anyway, though, I mean, generally speaking, I'm pretty satisfied with how the shape came out. I think I would have turned the walls a little bit thinner, but under the circumstances, it's pretty good. I think a lot of people only want to show perfect outcomes in their videos. I am totally happy to show this learning moment, I guess it was. But I'm going to go back, I think, and sand it and clean it up, and maybe I will post an update after that's done, if it's worth looking at or anybody cares to see it. Yep, natural edge walnut winged bowl, attempt 1. Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you for watching.